In this next lesson of our 2-bedroom bungalow tutorial, we expect that you should have labeled the remaining spaces of this 2-bedroom so that we can move on into the next phase of what we are about to do. In this next phase now, we want to talk about grid. We want to show you how to place your grid lines. Of course, we know the first thing you need to do is to create a layer. So let's left click and let's go to layer and create grid. From what we already know, you just change the color so that you can distinguish it. Pick something that you think that you've not used before, that will be different, and click OK. You can see the line width type is continuous and 00. You can leave that one. You cancel here. You now go to this place and go and pick your grid. Now let's start with our grid. For us to draw grid lines, there's one tool that we already know about, that we talked about when we were dealing with tools. We call it construction line. This is not the time for the construction line. But you know, I already told you that there are shortcuts. So press Excel, enter for that construction line. It will now ask you, is it vertical, horizontal, and so on. Let's start with vertical. V, enter. You now begin to click the midpoint. You'll be looking for the midpoint of each of the walls that you think can form the grid. Most especially all these ones, you will be getting familiar with it. By the time you are going into construction, you'll be getting familiar. This main line, you click this one too as the extension line. You click this one too as the grid line. You make this one too as a grid line. But there's one last one, this one. But you cannot click it since there's no midpoint for you to get the middle of these two lines. So what are you going to do? You will escape the command and you now go and you might even bring this one from here, just highlight it, you go to copy it from here, pick it from this point and drop it to this point. That's how you begin to form your grid lines. Now another thing that I want you to know is the line type. Most of the drawings that you see that the grid lines, they are mostly in center lines. So how do you convert this continuous line to grid line? You just click one of those lines. You now go to this second by layer that is here. You see the line type. You will notice that we have already brought out this center for us to pick it. But assuming we have not brought it out, I want to bring out another one. What we do is to go to this order. By the time we go to this order, we load our line types. You now pick the one that suits you. Just scroll down and see any one that you like. Assuming it's this one that we prefer, you click OK. But by the time you click OK, you would have discovered that it has come out. This is dash times 2. You now highlight it and click OK. By the time you come back to this line, you can see that it is showing now in dash times 2. That means you have loaded it. So if you now want to make it to be visible, you left click on it, you go to this by layer and you now click that dash times 2. By the time you see it, you will still see that it's not visible yet. That means the scale is tiny. So you need to work on the scale. How do you work on that scale? Yes, to make this line to be visible, those dash line that we have already put to be visible, you click on it. You now click this little arrow beside this properties. You see a box that will come out. You now go to line types scale. Most of the time it's always in 0 or 1. So you can begin by putting maybe 33 and check close it and check whether now you go back until you can see you can make it 333. By this time it's supposed to have come out, you see. Then that means your dashed is visible. So for you to make the other one dashed, you just click match properties, you left click on this one, and your window on the remaining, and the other two has been matched. So you escape to end that command. So what the remaining thing to be done now is to trim these lines, because they are construction lines, they are too long. So you just pick a line along this place, draw it along here, press enter, draw another line along this place, press enter. So you can now go to your trim to left click on your trim, click the trim area, enter. You now click the lines that you want to trim. The same thing you do it here. You click on this one and you trim. You press enter. You can now delete this one, pick this one and erase or delete, as the case may be. So you have done one aspect of your grid lines. Then we move to the next class to discuss how to continue with